Brian, I'm in basically Orlando. I mean, I'm in Oviedo, which is UCF, just outside of Orlando, where the college is. But I'm only here for till March. Then I'm out of here. I'm renting. I was telling Brian I just sold my house up in Daytona area. I lived there 17 years, which is wild. That I lived anywhere, because prior to that, I never lived anywhere more than 3 years. But sold the house, had it paid for, market was good, boom. It needed a new roof. You know, it was a 2001, and so I just sold it as is, got out, got my money. I was happy to get the money. So now I'm just kind of sitting, waiting for after the election to figure out where I want to move to and all that. So.
Do you want to stay south, surrounded by palm trees, or do you have any?
Well, no, I'll tell you honestly, I've been everywhere. So like I said, I lived in Los Angeles 5 years. Love it there. Too expensive, too much stuff. So, and I'm from Indiana, which I'll never go back, not to live there. Too boring. So I think Florida's my place. I do want to go live down like Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater down there where it's beautiful in the Gulf. But now I got this radio gig, so I don't really know, what I'm doing yet. I got a few more months. But probably eventually I'm gonna end up down there.
Yeah.
And I live up here in Orlando. All my guys live down in Tampa. So
I'm gonna get a 5-second countdown, and then we're gonna have to wait because it's after 1, and we'll see if Jessica. Maybe yesterday she was having storms, but we had no problem when she came on. She's probably having the same thing. Because Kenny, you said you were having storms too, right?
Listen, it just chilled out. I mean, if we had to do this interview 15 minutes ago, it would have been a mess. It was thunder and lightning, booming. And then the cool thing is I'm in this house and it's got the, what do you call it? Skylights. And you're like, oh, that's kind of cool, right? I've never had skylights. Freaking horrible when it's raining. Sounds like you're in a trailer. Super loud, man. I mean, you got your TV on like 80 just to hear it in the living room,
All right, Sherry, I'm going to give you a 5-second countdown and you'll start, okay? On 3, 2.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today we have rock royalty visiting with us. His band was voted one of the top rock bands from the 80s. Nova Rex, whose hit songs you may all remember, Turn It Up Loud, Alone Tonight. He has a current CD out right now called Rockstar Roadshow, and my favorite song on there right now is Bosoms and Beer, and gentlemen out there, it's a good rock video. We have Kenny Wilkerson. He's a guitarist, a hit radio DJ, an actor, and he's also a very strong advocate for autism, who's got a wonderful cookbook, Rockin Recipes for Autism. I'd like to welcome our very special guest, Kenny Wilkerson.
Hey, thanks, guys. That was a great intro, by the way. I really appreciate it.
No, we appreciate you being here. There's just so much to you. You're wonderful.
No, that's awesome. I forgot about the acting stuff. No, you know what happened on that is I did a documentary back in 2010. I did it on a handheld camera, totally for fun. Shot the thing in 3 days. It was kind of like Where Are They Now or whatever. And after I got it done, I thought, well, this is pretty good. And I sent it off. to Showtime. I don't know why it ended up being Showtime. And then the documentary channel picked it up, aired it for a couple of years. And then after that, they ended up getting bought out, and it was on Netflix for a while. So that's my acting stuff. And then I did another movie called Here I Go Again that came out a couple of years ago, which it's just a ton of rockers in it, talking about the 80s and stuff. So yeah, I appreciate that. But now I'm an author, which I don't even really take credit for that. I'm really just a guy who collected a bunch of good recipes. But
no, this cookbook is wonderful, and I've picked up quite a few for some friends, and there's been such great reception for it. There's several rockers, Ozzy Osbourne, Whitesnake, Poison. They've contributed to this volume 1, so obviously there's going to be some more. My favorite recipe, of course, is Kenny Wilkerson's at 80 cheesy meatloaf. Cheesy bacon meatloaf. So
yeah. That was the name of the documentary too. That's why I kind of remember. We all had funny little things in it.
Comfort, so it was a good one in the house.
Yeah, a lot of comfort food. People ask me how the book started, and what it was is I had just a Sunday night radio show I was doing, and it was an easy gig. I used to go in once a month, record all 4 episodes, and then I didn't even see the station again until next month. But I did this for a couple of years, and I was interviewing guys like Jack Russell, from Whitesnake, or from a Great White, or Bill Liberty from Firehouse. But anyways, what happened was I had a guy where I just came back from New Orleans. I like New Orleans. I have fun there. I try to get there when I can. And I like their food. Well, the thing was, after you eat there, it's hard to recover from that. You know, it's different kind of food. And the guy I was interviewing was like, hey, man, I'm from New Orleans. My mom's from New Orleans. We got a recipe. It's been passed down for 100 years. Let me send you this recipe. So then it kind of became a thing. I started collecting recipes. And then out on the road, as my band's out on the road, I kept coming across this charity called We Rock for Autism. It's a 501c out of South Florida. I think they're in Lauderdale. And I talked to them, understand what they were doing. They were raising money for awareness and music therapy for kids, which is in my wheelhouse. So then I started cranking on it. And so now I have the recipes. I have the charity. It was just a matter of fact of putting it together. And again, like I said, it's been the most expensive thing I've ever done, but the most rewarding. So I'm very excited about it, and it's brand new. I've had it just for weeks. So.
No, it's wonderful. I've always creating ideas because I always want to create the ultimate man cave, and this book for sure is a must.
Oh.
So for the ladies out there that want to get a gift for your man, or for the guys that want to have the ultimate conversation piece at a barbecue, this is definitely your book.
Well,
so
plus
it's
there's
very well put together.
There's a few cute rockers in there. Hey,
Just
you know.
couple.
And yeah, a lot of rock and roll, you know, Grammy winners, Hall of Famers, you know, but it's never been done before. It's just never been done before. And to come to find out, when I reached out to these people, and I didn't call any managers, and I didn't call any labels, and I just called people that I knew, guys I played shows with, you know, a friend of a friend on a couple of guys, and they were all happy to do it. And it's amazing how you think about these rockers back. Because I lean heavy with all the 80s guys. That's who I grew up. Now, I do have somebody from the Loving Spoonful, you know, guy's a Hall of Famer. I've got Palais Royale, who are younger kids that are out on the road. They were just on the road with Manson and Rob Zombie. So I kind of mixed it up a little bit, but it's really just who I knew. And believe it or not, most of them are pretty good cooks. A lot of them had restaurants. And I say about everybody has the one go-to dish to cook with. You know, everybody has one. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
So it was kind of fun that way. And the reason I called it Volume 1 is because I thought I was going to need 120. It's 127 pages. So I originally thought that I've never done a book before. I thought I was going to need about 120 some recipes, one per page. And then I'd come to find out after we split it up, it's really a two page per recipe, one photo, the bio, and then the recipe. So I've got like 40 recipes sitting now for Volume 2 already. So
well, and it's very affordable, and it looks good. So going forward after today's show, I'm always going to have it behind me. But I know I've spent really good money on bad, but this is very good money spent in a very good place.
Yeah, great cause, cause. So yeah. And I mean, for what it's worth, I know people get weird on charities, but I actually put up my own money. So, I mean, you can't be any more dedicated than that. And the main reason I started it is because I have a son who just turned 19 a couple of weeks ago, and he has Asperger's, which is a form of autism, high functioning. He's almost too smart for his own good. But I had him in, I homeschooled him. I had him in school with kids with an autistic school for a couple of years. The thing about autism is a lot of people don't know how to handle these kids. They're all kind of snowflakes. They all have their own little quirks. When my son was in autistic school, in high school, you know, there's kids that they're nonverbal. I mean, there's kids that eat the same lunch every day. You know, my kid wears the same shoes every day. You know, just certain little quirky things. And they say that 1 in 54 people in the United States anyways has some form of autism. So it's pretty out there. And I went through the system, you know, for, well, the past, you know, 19 years. I mean, I had to learn a lot about it. So, you know, and I thought I'd be going to, you know, taking my kid to baseball games and, you know, having him, you know, with his friends and this and that. And it just didn't happen that way for me. It's just, but honestly, it's my only son. And at this point I don't know any other way.
No, Kenny, our very beautiful friend Jessica just joined us, and
Hi,
Jessica and Brian.
Hey,
I I was watching this interview that you did with this young boy, Kenny, and it was, Kenny, you're already the rock star. You're already the very handsome man. But there was such an endearing quality to you speaking to this young boy. And if anyone can go and find it, I'm not sure if you remember the boy's radio show, and he was in a little suit and he was all dressed up for you.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it was such a beautiful, you were just so kind. And so, God only gives you what you can handle. And, what a blessing that you are your Gunner's father. You're very kind.
That's going to make me cry.
No,
don't make me cry. I'm a rock star. I can't cry. You don't want that.
But no, it is. You're a very good man, and
I appreciate. I actually like kids, so I don't have a problem with that. And that kid was funny. He was like 8 or something. I remember. It's on my Facebook page, and I think on Kenny Wilkerson Facebook page. But he was a up and coming. He wants to be a little, an interview guy, right? He wants to interview people. So that was funny. I'm glad you've seen that. That was cute. Yeah. I remember that from a year ago.
Kenny, I loved talking to you a couple of weeks ago about stuff, and I'm like, I like this guy, and I was like thinking when you were talking about that documentary, I'm like, I saw that documentary, but did I do interviews with him? I would have remembered that because you have personality, and it was one of those things where I love kids that are autistic. I learned when I had my horse ranch. We did dressage, all English, not Western English. And we love kids who are autistics because horses love kids who are autistic. They relate to them. And a lot of people don't know that. And I said, I'm going to always do something with this from now on. So even for our Dreamweaver Artist Ranch, we're going to have Mustangs there. So I'm going to have things. So it may be something that we all connect with your charity where we have some of the kids who are autistic come up to our Dreamweaver Artist Ranch because that's why we're setting it up like that. We're going to have for them. And I never forgot that, how kids related to problem horses that we have. And I will never forget that till the day, I die. So I'm always with that. So anything I can do to help your charity, I'm on board. And I know Jessica's got a question coming up because I can see it in her eyes.
That's not a surprise. I always have a question. Hi, Kenny. Nice to meet you.
You too.
I have a special place in my heart for children and music ed. I've always sung. I am a professional singer as well. And
God bless you.
So thank you. But ironically, that was not my focus in school. I just kind of, because it was something that was kind of in me, I focused on some other things. But now moving forward, I feel called to do either something in music ed or music therapy or that kind of thing. So when I found out that you did this, I was so happy, and I love that you came up with this idea. So I just really appreciate you and what you're doing, because music it's just this unreal thing that it's healing. It connects everybody. It's a bond, and you don't have to speak the same language. You don't have to actually understand what that other person is thinking or feeling. It's just this way of connecting that is unexplainable. So I really appreciate what you do and are able to incorporate that into helping with those that need special assistance.
I totally appreciate it. Did you see? I'm sure you all seen the kid that was blind, had autism on American Idol.
Yes.
The piano kid.
Kenny Lee. I saw him the other night. They had him as a guest during their finals.
So even though these kids have autism, and some of them are, like I said, are nonverbal and things like that, it's that for me, they're just using the other side of their brain more. You know what I mean? They think outside the box. They say a lot of guys like Elon Musk, Beethoven, Einstein probably all had some form of autism. And then musicians in general, they kind of use it as part of their other brain too, right? So it kind of made sense for me. And I understand my son. I mean, he loves music. Now, he doesn't listen to stuff I listen to because I'm dad. And I'm a big damn dork, you know what I mean? But I asked him the other day, the cutest, because when it comes to your kids, everything almost makes you cry, right? But he said to me, I was like, hey, what's your favorite band? I'm just talking music, He said, I really like Queen. I'm like, okay, I'll take that. Because it's so orchestrated, you know what I mean? It's got that whole, because the stuff he listens to, honestly, is all these Korean videos that have 5 billion views. You know, all these kids listen to now. You know, people I don't even know artist-wise. Or he'll find out these songs from playing video games. Yeah. You know, a lot of them have those kind of old rock songs and stuff on it. So we talk music. He likes music and rockets. And I'm in Florida, and they shoot off a rocket about once a week, so we pretty much have that in common.
Is he into science? Do you know?
He is. He's into science. Like I said, he thinks he's a little smarter than he is. You know what I mean? That's the problem. But that's really with any teenager, by the way.
I was gonna say, yeah, that's nothing new. Do you all get to go and watch when they do?
I haven't. No, I was talking about it today. We have not yet been. Now, when it shoots off, I'm probably, as they say, the crow flies, maybe 30 miles from Cape Canaveral. So, I mean, we can pretty much see it in you can see it in your backyard. But as far as being up close, no, we haven't done that yet.
Okay.
Yeah, it just depends what day it is, and it depends what he's into. He still gets a little bit. Now, I will tell you this about Asperger's, because I can talk for that. It does get better. You know, when he was a little kid, he couldn't express his emotions. You know, they did a lot of this when it was a loud crowd. I remember I took him to a WWE wrestling thing in an arena, had free tickets. And it took me 30 minutes just to convince him to go in the building. And then another 30 minutes to convince him to take the stairs. You know what I'm saying? But then after he got there, he's good. So it's a lot of anxiety, a lot of not being able to how to express their feelings. Again, he's older and he speaks well. He makes eye contact with you. You know, there's kids that will just not look at you when they talk. And the other thing that's been wild, and I didn't think I was really going to be a guy who represents autism, but I've met a lot of people and families since the book has come out. You know, people coming to me, telling me their stories and things. And God bless them all, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Has he seen either Rain Man or Temple Grandin at all?
No. No.
And the reason I ask, because I'd be wondering to see what his thought process would be seeing Dustin Hoffman act like that, because I was there doing those interviews for when Rain Man came out. But the reason I asked on Temple Grandin, because this was brilliant of what she created with cattle and stuff as Claire Danes is playing her. And I got a chance to meet her. So as you were saying, some people who are autistic, well, most of them don't like to be touched. And then so you have to be careful. And I remember standing next to her right on my left, and then Claire Danes was on my right as they were going into the stage. And I was like, which one do I talk to? I should have talked to Temple Grandin, but I didn't want to intrude on her space, if that made sense.
Yeah.
Talking to Claire Danes.
No, he's not. Honestly, he doesn't really like to talk about it. I mean, because it feels like it's calling him out on something. You know, I'm like, son, you know, you have autism, you know, and he knows it, but I don't know. Sometimes he tries to work me with it too, because he's a teenager. You know, sometimes he'll get embarrassed by it if I talk too much about it with him around. You know, like, you know, if he's beside me and I'm like, he gets weird about it a little bit. I don't know, because they don't really want to be different. They want to fit in, so they don't really. But there's so many shows. I mean, there's a thing on Netflix now. I forgot the name of the show, but it's where these autistic couples are trying to fall in love and move in together. And I'll sit there and try to watch it with him. But he's a 19-year-old boy. He don't want to watch any of that stuff. He wants to play video games or watch what's that thing he likes? You know, just the hardcore cartoon stuff. You know, anything that's you know, teenage related.
I'm going to put this out there for him. In case he's into science, and if he likes rockets and stuff like that, one of my friends, Casey Wright, works for Elon Musk. He's one of the engineers who sent the rockets up, the NASA astronaut. Sure. If he's ever interested in that, you let me or Sherry or whatever else know, and I'll have him on the show with us if he's interested in doing that.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I mean, let me ask him, but we that's kind of like our go-to conversation. Yeah, 100%. No,
he's the engineer that built the rockets that put him up.
Yeah. No, he's into it, because that's one thing we'll talk about it a lot, because I'll say to him, hey, bud, what's going on today? He'll give me the news. You know, he's aware. and it's usually like, oh, they're going to send them satellites tomorrow. Oh, did you hear about the one thing? You know, so he's awake. But it's a different generation now, too. These kids, all they do is they're just on their phones. They get all their information from their phone. They don't watch movies. They don't watch TV. It's all phone stuff. And you know, talking back to concerts. So he's seen me play one time because it was a family kind of thing that I was back in my hometown of Indiana, and I did this charity event with my brother and his kids, and my son showed up, and he's probably proud of me when I'm not around. You know what I mean? Like, hey, my dad rocks or whatever. But
he can't let you know it.
no, but typically he doesn't really come out. Now he owns a keyboard and a guitar, and he plays a little bit of stuff, and but he still doesn't really know what he wants to do. I mean, I think he wants to save the world. He just don't know how he's going to do it yet. You know.
Kenny, how do you enjoy your new one of your other career paths as a radio DJ on G Love?
Right, isn't that crazy? You know what happened was, again, I told you I did that thing on Sundays for a couple of years, and I only did it because I knew enough rock guys to call, and I'm like, hey, let's talk for a half hour to whoever, right? And then, so then I got busy on the road. That kind of went down, and I gave up. And then I was doing an internet radio show on Monday nights with Glenda G Love. And we were doing it on Monday nights, and I was having my friends call in. And then there was a new station that opened up. It'll be a year next month. It's called Florida Man Radio. It's a talk radio show. It's out of Orlando. It's owned by JVC Broadcasting, which they own about a dozen stations. Most of them up in the New York, Long Island area, but there's one in Gainesville as well. And the morning DJ, if you guys remember, a guy named Bubba the Love Sponge, he was the guy that got in all that trouble with Hulk Hogan. Remember, there was like a sex tape and all that? Well, that was all Bubba, by the way. He's like a shock jock, but he's the morning guy. And then we follow a guy named Shannon Burke, who's been out there for a long time. So anyways, got a couple of guys in front of us. We go on at 7 o'clock every night. It's Monday through Friday. It's just an hour show, in and out. If anything, it's too quick. Because we used to have a 2-hour internet show so we could talk to people a little bit longer, but now I have commercial hard breaks and all that. And you got to be careful what you say, right? As far as the swear words, but it's been really good. I've interviewed some great guys. I mean, tomorrow, my guest is Rudy Sarzo from obviously Ozzy, Quiet Riot, and Whitesnake. And that's one of my idols. It's the first poster I ever put on my wall was this guy. So I'm excited to talk to him. Next week, I got Brad Gillis from Night Ranger, the guitar player. I know I got Rick Allen on deck coming up from Def Leppard. And it's just been really fun for me just to talk rock and roll with these guys. And I always make a joke. I'm like, 25 years ago, I couldn't talk to him, and now I'm talking to him, you know, so just to hang on. But
do you have a memorable guest that told you something you totally would not ever imagine?
Well, I mean, I've heard some stories. I actually interviewed Ricky Rackman, if you remember him from Headbangers Ball. And he told me a story about the one time where, you know, Axl Rose was running down Hollywood Boulevard with a knife trying to stab David Bowie, you know, that kind of story. Or what was another one? I interviewed kind of a friend of mine at this point, lives here in Florida, a guy named Steve Boone. He's in the Cookbook. He's the bass player for the Loving Spoonful. A little bit before my time, but everybody knows those songs from the 60s. They were inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2010 by John Mellencamp. But anyways, he wrote a book, and he was talking about after Loving Spoonful, he was running drugs back and forth from Puerto Rico, and had to sink a boat a couple of times. You know, where they surrounded him, you know what I mean?
Oh.
So weird stuff like that. I mean, but
that's all fun stuff.
Yeah, they all sort of have the same rock and roll story. You know what I mean? Everybody did.
You've probably seen it all as a rock star. Is there anything from your past that was totally in left field that you never thought you'd see in your day?
Well,
by a fan or a groupie?
Oh, well, see, yeah, what I can tell you. Yeah. Yeah, the groupie thing goes on forever. I would say the craziest thing was just a couple of years ago, we did a show in Texas. It was some kind of a rally, right? Bike rally. We were headlining. And when we got there, it was a completely nude campground. So that was weird. I never played in front of all naked people. Because usually as a rock and roll band, you try to get these girls on stage to give you the flash, right? Because it's kind of like the the wave for 80s rockers. But this one was like, hey, you had to put clothes on. So that was kind of weird.
So it really was the real deal of the dream when they say to imagine everyone is naked and then you can perform better. It was the real thing.
It wasn't a dream. It was, and not everybody should have been naked, if you know what I'm saying. And I remember we did this little thing. Sometimes we'll bring like 5 or 6 people on stage, girls usually, and then we'll do some kind of little stupid contest for a second, especially in a long bike rally type of show. And usually we halfway try to get them to get crazy. This was like we were trying to get clothes on them. It was the weirdest thing.
Speaking of clothes, I'm not sure if you guys know, I discovered that we have our first in-house guest who's a member of the American Historical Museum, the Smithsonian. You have something? Yeah.
About my stuff.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah, that was crazy. Real quick on that. So what happened was when the documentary came out in 2010, the band was laying low for a couple of years. I was I already did, from 85 to whatever. So then I did that documentary for fun. And then after it got some attention, and I know it did because I would be in California and the guy would say to me, hey, I seen you on Discovery Channel last night. I'm like, okay. And then I'd be at a grocery store in line in Florida, and the lady was like, hey, I seen you on the History Channel last night. It was always the wrong channel, right? But what happened was after that, okay, so my folks up in Indiana, which I'm going to go see in a couple weeks, they had a Foot Locker, some old, this rock and roll stuff that I kept, jackets, the gloves, the boots, all the crazy stuff. I mean, I had a pair of boots with spurs on them. I mean, come on, right? Stuff that's just crazy. So then I told my mom, I said, look, I don't really want that stuff. Why don't you just call the local museum in our hometown, in our county, not my hometown, but in the county. It's been there 100 years. I said, just give it to them. So what happened was they gave it to them, and then instantly they wanted to do a whole event. They had my bass in a glass case. They had my outfit on a mannequin and all this, right? The Indy Star, which is a big paper there, came out. They threw a parade for me in my 2-stop light town. And about 600 people showed up. I thought, well, that was pretty cool, right? Ego. I was like, that was pretty cool. But then again, that's my hometown, right? So then I ended up getting a hold of the Hard Rock corporate at one time was in Orlando. And I said, having this jacket, I got this movie out, blah, blah, blah. Band's been together, 25 years or whatever. And they said, yeah, we'll take it, right? Which just 2 years ago made it into Daytona Hard Rock when it opened. 2 years ago, they opened up the Daytona Hard Rock Hotel. If you ever guys come down, I'll give you the red carpet treatment there. But the people that were working there called me and said, hey, your jacket is blah, blah, blah. It's on, on display. So I thought, well, that was pretty cool. But again, that's hard rock. I mean, there's so many of them, you know what I mean? And then, so then on a dare, somebody said to me, well, that's cool. That's cool. That's cool. Why don't you get the Smithsonian? So I reached out to the Smithsonian, and they have 7 or 9 museums, whatever it is up there. And I ended up dialing into the National Museum of American History, where they have Archie Bunker's chair, Marilyn Monroe's gloves, Dorothy from the Wizard of Oz shoes, that kind of stuff, right? Muhammad Ali and all that. So I contacted them. I had these pair of, what do you call it? I can't even say the word. We got all the little stuff on your chaps, like with the gun. What do you used to call that? Bedazzled?
Oh, bedazzling?
I was making a joke. Bedazzling. And they said, send a picture of it and we'll let you know. And they said, we have nothing from the 80s. Now, because it's already been 25 plus years, right? So that usually makes it classic, right? So about 2 weeks went by and they called me up and they said, we'll take everything you got. So then I sent them whatever I had left. I had the bedazzled chaps. I had the boots with the spurs. I had an old Novarex t-shirt from the 80s, a leather jacket that had our name on the back of it that we spray painted ourselves. And I had a bass from Budweiser back in the day that they gave me, that it was really a toy, but I gave them that too. And it's all on display in the Smithsonian National Museum of American History. I was up there maybe 4 years ago to go look at it. And I did the vault too, which was pretty cool. There's a lot of stuff in the vault. So, but
I'm very intrigued by the bedazzled chaps. So if you want to get pulled up on stage, Jessica, we better be wearing bedazzled chaps so we can get
bedazzled.
We gotta go out, pull out. I'm game. I'll do it. I've worn some pretty weird outfits in my day. I had to wear this helmet thing. I called it the Teletubby hat because it really did look like it was a helmet with a weird little circle on top of it, and it did initially have 2 loops, but they decided that we looked too much like Minnie Mouse, and so they took one of them away and recreated it so that it just looks like a Teletubby. So give me some bedazzled chaps.
Yeah, right. No, it was cool. What they ended up doing, what the whole purpose of it was, is they put a thing together of outfits during the generation. You know, like clothing, like it's beside a zoot suit and some other stuff. So it was this. So basically, the long and short of it is that I have a full-on outfit in the Smithsonian National Museum of American History representing 80s metal. Not Bon Jovi. Not Bon Jovi.
You know how cool that is, Kenny? Because I've actually been there and I've actually do stuff with the Smithsonian Channel. So I've always loved the stuff like that. So that's not easy. Congratulations on that. And I knew there, I just didn't know it was you. I knew the name, but I hadn't put two together because it's a huge museum, but it's eclectic stuff there. And I think one day we should take a tour if we can get to see a museum again, because I love stuff like that.
Well, you know, here's the crazy thing. So I went up there 4 years ago because I had some shows in Maryland. So it was kind of on our way, and we made a stop just so the band could see it and everything. But a year or two prior to that, I went up there with my mom, of all people. And I've never had my mom fly in somewhere where I flew in. You know what I mean? We did it was like a little mom and son moment. Bought the tickets, non-refundable, during the shutdown.
Oh.
Yeah, so we get up there and everything was shut down. So my mom still hasn't seen it. Yeah. But soon enough.
Man.
I'm going to give you.
I can't go now.
Sorry, Kate. Jessica, I'm going to give you the next question. We got about 3 minutes.
Okay. Well, this is just kind of to wrap it up. So what was, if you haven't already touched on it already, and if you have, my apologies. What was kind of your road into this? Like the band, the origin of the name? Because how did you, was it something that you fell into, or it found you, or you guys met along the way, or was it something that you aspired to do initially?
I would say after about the age of 13, I bought my first bass, so I knew I wanted to be a musician. At the age of 15, I played my first show. It was a house party, and that's what you do, right? 12 songs total. You just play with whoever owns an instrument. There was 3 girls at the party, and all 3 of them tried to pick me up. So then I wanted to be in rock and roll. Then I did go out to LA as a kid, but I only had enough money to stay there for a month. I had no connections. It was just the weirdest. I did it the day I graduated. And then I ended up coming to Florida because I had an uncle here. I came down to Florida, and what happened was there was a band that just came down from Canada. They just got formed to come down and play Bike Week because that was big. It's still pretty big, but back then it was MTV big, right? Daytona Bike Week and stuff. And they came down with a band, and the bass player was married, had to go home. So they were down. So basically I didn't start the band, but I've been in it 3 months after it started 35 years ago. I mean, how close you can get. I mean, that was pretty damn close. And they just came to me. I had a photographer that came out and seen my little band I put together real quick. And then they said they knew a band that needed a bass player, and it just went from there. And then I played with a guy named JP Savoni. He was the other original guy forever. His claim to fame at the time, when he was in his 20s, he used to play guitar for Buddy Miles. Right. And then when we went to LA, we had a management out there too. We had our management was a guy named Rick Frio from MCA, and oh my God, the guy that ran Motown forever. Oh crap!
I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, he was in Motown forever, and that was our management company.
Wow.
So, but anyways, yeah. So I kind of fell into it, but I haven't stopped since. It's kind of crazy.
Right place, right time. That's all it takes.
Well, yeah, and then the funny thing is too, like I said, I'm interviewing Rudy Sarzo coming up, and I wrote Rudy, right? Somebody gave me his email, and I just went, Rudy. look, I got this cool radio show. I've been interviewing cool people. I want to interview you. But by the way, I play bass, and it's all your fault. There you go. I seen Ozzy when I was like 13, and I haven't really looked back. It kind of messed me up.
Kenny, we got about 60 seconds. We have to have you coming back.
Oh, great.
With Sherry and Jessica, you agree? Because you have so much more we have to get to, but we're like out of time. So
I know how it goes.
Can we see if we can get you to come back and we can continue this conversation?
Sure, just let me know. You know what I mean? Just give me a heads up. And don't forget to check out the cookbook, Rockin Recipes for Autism. Rockin Recipes for Autism without a G, Rockin without a G, Autism. I messed it all up. RockinRecipesForAutism.com. If you go there, it tells you all the rockers that are in it, why I did it, where I did it, how I did it, and you can purchase it there. And it's kind of like I said, it's never been done before. So, and some good things have happened since the book's been out just over the last couple of months. It made Rachel Ray magazine. I was in the July issue of Autism Parenting magazine. They did a Father's Day issue with me and my son, which I thought was cute.
That's cool.
And whatever rock outlets, and it's still brand new. Come get it. You can't see these rockers right now, but you can see what they cook.
And Kenny, your social media links also.
Just for the cookbook, obviously go to the website. I have an Instagram there for that, and Twitter account, and then the band. You can go everywhere.
And Sherry Nelson and Jessica, yours?
I'm on Facebook and Jessica Heim 7 on Instagram.
Sherry, we all rock for autism. And Facebook, Sherry Nelson, Instagram, Twitter, XOXO, Sherry XO. Thank you, Kenny.
Yes, thank you, Kenny.
And Kenny, thank you so much. And like I said, we'll see about having you on the next couple of weeks. We'll get everybody's schedule again. We'll do a part 2 because you have so much important stuff to talk to, and getting a little bit more in depth on certain people's recipes. That's interesting.
Yeah, it is. And they're good ones too. Really good stuff.
Yeah, they are.
It ain't no mac and cheese and ramen noodles. They're real pro recipes. So passed down family generations. And Sherry, I'll see you soon. I'll talk to you at the end of the week.
Friday.
Sherry's going to come on my show. So Real Talk with G Love, 105.5. And you can just get the apps and all that kind of stuff. Look at that.
And with that, this is Brian Sebastian, Movie Reviews and More, Women on TV.tv, Worldwide TV Network, which was formerly the Women's Broadcast TV Network, and iTube 247 out of Franklin, Tennessee. And if you see someone out of Smile, please give them one of yours because the world needs it. And go and check out Kenny Wilson. And you know what? I'm going to have to order that. I need some recipes for myself too. So I'm going to leave.
There you go.
We will see you next week.